Senior Iran analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Tzvi Kahn, joins me now from Washington, D.C. Mr. Kahn, a pleasure to have you with us. What does the Islamic Revolution of 1979 mean for the Middle East of today?
Well, make no mistake, 40 years later, the record of the Islamic Revolution is one of failure. The clerical regime came to power promising a better life for the Iranian people, but instead what they've given Iranians is a collapsing economy, systemic human rights abuses, massive water shortages, and foreign wars that with no end in sight, that have really terrorized and destroyed its neighbors, most notably in Syria, where more than 500,000 people have been killed, thanks in part to the military and financial support that Iran provides the Assad regime. So Iran today is clearly one of the most destabilizing force in the Middle East, and that's one reason why protests have continued in Iran for more than a year now, because the Iranian people recognizes that this regime does not speak for them and that it has no accomplishments that continue its justify its legitimacy and continued hold on power. So then, listening to the statements there of Hassan Rouhani, and then looking at the position that you say Iran finds itself in 40 years after establishing itself as the Islamic Republic, how is Iran then balancing its identity and its political vision? Well, it's been trying, but not very effectively. The problem right now is that for the regime, they're somewhat in a straitjacket, because in order to really resolve the various economic problems and human rights problems that pervade the country, they would really have to sacrifice its Islamic identity. They would have to abandon their hatred for the West and their foreign wars of aggression, which really lie at the heart of its reason for being, of its self-perceived legitimacy. And so that's why, although the Iranian regime has never been squeamish about the use of force, after all, it's sponsoring major wars throughout the Middle East, at the same time, it really can't treat its own people the way, let's say, the Assad regime has treated its people, because to do so would really just destroy the state itself. It's hard to say that you're having an Islamic revolution when the country lies in rubble and the economy is collapsing. So that's why the regime itself today does not really seem to have a plan. There's no clear political vision that could really sustain itself and that could command the support of the Iranian people.
Now, of course, that's not the perspective or the position put forward by Iranian leadership. We're hearing Rouhani, who says that the country has also managed to, quote, foil the conspiracies led by the US and Israel. Has Iran been unfairly vilified?
No, I don't think so. I think its record speaks for itself. If the Iranian regime were doing such a great job, we perhaps would not be seeing so many Iranians throughout the country protesting over the last year. It's important to emphasize that these protests have commanded the support of virtually all major sectors of the population, including the rural poor, which typically has been regarded as the major support base of the regime. So the fact that it's lost this support, I think, is a sign that this regime really does not have a vision for the country and does not really deserve the support of its own people.
All right, Tzvi Kahn, appreciate that insight from Washington, D.C.